Welcome to Programming for Kids with Scratch 2. I'm Mike Lehman, and thanks for joining me. This series of half-hour shows uses Scratch to introduce computer programming to kids, about 5th grade and up, and curious adults too. You'll learn all about programming in Scratch in this series. It covers loop blocks, repeat, repeat until and forever, decision blocks including if and if else, procedure blocks, variables, lists, messages, events, clones, even microphone and video webcam input. I'll create many programs including games, storytelling, drawing pictures, and programs that demonstrate important programming concepts including objects, threads, and polling. This series is all about doing and shows the creation of all working programs from start to finish. Scratch is a great first programming language and can have children very quickly creating and presenting stories and creating fun animations, all while learning valuable critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills, and the fundamentals of programming without any of the confusing and detailed syntax. Scratch presents programming commands as single blocks that are easily snapped together to make programs with very little typing. Don't let the ease of Scratch fool you into thinking that there's little here. Scratch programs can do a lot of things. Very little math is needed to make fun programs, and I give the very few equations that I'll use in a handful of about 50 challenges. Scratch is free and freely available from the highly regarded university MIT. With your web browser, you can create, share, and save your Scratch programs if you want to. You can also look online at literally millions of shared Scratch programs, and if you like, you can join the Scratch community. You can just sit back and watch this show, or you can go to scratch.mit.edu, click on the Try It Out icon, and have fun learning how to program too. All of these video challenge lessons and more are available at my programmingforkids.info website and at my programmingforkids.info YouTube channel. The countdown timer at the bottom of the screen shows how long until a program is first run. This show number 5 introduces variables for only one sprite, talks about events and objects more, and imports a sound clip and uses it. I'll get started. In an earlier challenge, I had a shared variable called score and had 3 sprites each change the score value in different ways. Understanding the differences between shared and private variables is very important. This example will first create a shared variable called timesClicked that will have the number of times the sprites have been clicked on. Then I'll change the program to also have each sprite keep its own count of how many times it's been clicked on. I'll need to create the timesClicked variable, go to Data, make a variable. I'll enter times clicked, keep it for all sprites, OK. Now I have the times clicked variable. It's available for all sprites, even though I have only one sprite right now. I need to initialize it, set it to 0. I'll also want to change the value. Go to Events. When the green flag's clicked on, times clicked will be set to 0. When the sprite is clicked on, it'll change times clicked by 1. I'll test it now. I'll click on the green flag. Times clicked is 0 as it was. I'll click on the cat. Times clicked is 1. Click on the cat again. Times clicked is 2. It's working nicely. If I click on the green flag, the count should be cleared. I'll click on it. Times clicked is 0 now. Program's working nicely. I'll go to my diagram to show what's next. So far in the program, I have the cat sprite with its own scripts, costumes, and sounds, and I created the global variable timesClicked. Remember that timesClicked is for all sprites. I also added that when the sprite's clicked on, timesClicked is increased by 1. And I'm not showing it, but when the green flag's clicked on, timesClicked is set to 0. Next, I want to create a couple more sprites. I'll create the starfish sprite with its own scripts, costumes, and sounds. And when the starfish is clicked on, timesClicked will be increased by 1. I'll also create a balloon sprite, and when it's clicked on, timesClicked will be increased by 1. Now all the sprites will add 1 to timesClicked when they're clicked on. I'll go back to Scratch and create the 2 sprites now. First I'll create the starfish, go to New Sprite, scroll down, double-click on the starfish, move it over. When the sprite's clicked on, I need to increase timesClicked by 1. I could get the command blocks from the palettes, but sometimes it can be easier to copy it from another sprite. I'll drag and drop when this sprite clicked command blocks onto the starfish. The original blocks are placed back on the cat script area. I'll go to the starfish now, and the starfish has when this sprite clicked, timesClicked is changed by 1. Now to create my balloon sprite, New Sprite, scroll down, double-click on balloon, drag it to the right side of the stage, I'll copy the sprite clicked handler from the starfish onto the balloon. Drag and drop. And the original's back on the starfish's script area. Go to the balloon, and the balloon has the same event handler too. Now I'll run the program. Click on the green flag. Times clicked is 0, but it was before. I'll click on the starfish. Times clicked is 1. Click again. Times clicked is 2. I'll click on the cat once, it's 3. And again, times clicked is 4. 2 clicks on the balloon. Times clicked is 5 and 6. 6 clicks and they're all counted. This is working nicely. I'll go back to my diagram to show what's next. First I'll show what happened when I ran the program. When I clicked on the green flag, times click was set to 0. When I clicked on the starfish, when the sprite clicked, increased times clicked by 1. 0 became 1. Clicked on the starfish again, times clicked became 2. Clicked on the cat, times clicked became 3. And again on the cat, times clicked became 4. Then clicked on the balloon, 4 became 5. Clicked on the balloon again, and times clicked became 6. Remember that all these sprites are using the same shared variable, times clicked, which was created for all sprites. Sometimes variables should be only for one sprite and not for all sprites. Sometimes a sprite needs unique data only for itself. In an earlier example, I explored the sprite size variable found in the looks palette. I was able to change the size of the sprites, and changing the size of one sprite didn't change the size of the other sprites. So each sprite has its own size variable. When the program starts, all 3 sprites are at 100%. I can use the set size command to change the size of each of the sprites. I can change the balloon size to 125%, can change the cat size to 75%, and I can change the starfish's size to 50%. Next, I'll create a unique variable for each of the sprites. For the starfish, I'll create my arms count, for the cat, my whiskers count, and for the balloon, my diameter. Each will be created for this sprite only, instead of for all sprites. To change the values, whenever the D key is pressed, my diameter will be increased by 1. Whenever the W key is pressed, my whiskers count will be increased by 1. And when the A key is pressed, my arms count will be increased by 1. Achy. My achy arms. In this program, the variable values will change, but the images of the sprites will not change. I'll go back to Scratch, show the size variables change for each of the sprites, and add the new variables. I currently have the balloons script showing. I'll go to Looks, scroll down, I'll check Size. The size variable for the balloon appears on the stage showing 100%. Notice that the variable says balloon 1 in front of it. Balloon 1 size is different from times clicked, which doesn't have the name of a sprite in front of it. That's because times clicked is for all sprites, whereas this size variable is for only the balloon. I can change the sprite size, get set size, change 100 to 125, click on set size, and the balloon's bigger. I can change the starfish's size. First I'll show its size. Starfish is at 100 as expected. The balloon's changed to 125%. The starfish is still at 100. I'll get set size. Instead of 100, I'll make it 50. Click on it. The starfish is now 50%. I'll do the same thing for the cat. Size. Bring it down. Cat's at 100%. Set size. Change the size to 75%. Click on it. The cat's at 75% size now. I'm finished with size now. What's important to remember is that each of these sprites has its own size variable. Even though the name's the same for each of the sprites, don't let that confuse you. Changing the size of one sprite doesn't affect the other sprites. Now I'll create the variables for each of the sprites. For the balloon, I'll click on Balloon, Data, Make a Variable, Create My Diameter. Only for the sprite. OK. Now the My Diameter variable exists for the balloon. I'll put it under the balloon. Needs to be initialized to 12. Change the 0 to 12. And when the D key is pressed, change My Diameter by 1. Go to Events. When the D key is pressed, scroll down, D. My Diameter will be changed by 1. When the green flag's clicked on, My Diameter will be set to 12. Go to the cat sprite, click on it, create its variable, data, make a variable, my whiskers count. For this sprite only, okay, it's only for the cat. The cat has my whiskers count, and it can see times clicked, but it can't see the balloon's my diameter. My diameter is only for the balloon. I'll set my whiskers count to 4. And I want to change my whiskers count when the W key is pressed. Go to Events, when the W key is pressed, Menu, scroll down. When the W key is pressed, my whiskers count will be increased by 1. My whiskers count is set to 4 when the green flag's clicked. I think the cat's ready. I'll create the starfish's variable, data, make a variable, my arms count. For this sprite only, okay. The starfish can see my arms count and times clicked, but it can't see the cat's my whiskers count. It can see my arms count, but the starfish can't see my diameter. Need to initialize my arms count. Change it to 5. When the A key is pressed, I want to change my arm count by 1. Go to Events, green flag clicked. Now when the green flag's clicked on, my arms count will be set to 5. A key. And when the A key is pressed, my arms count will be increased by 1. Program's ready to run. I'll click on the green flag. My diameter is 12, my whiskers counts 4, and my arms counts 5. I'll press the D key a couple times and my diameter will increase to 13, 14. I'll press the W key a couple times and my whiskers count will go to 5 and 6. And I'll press the A key and my arms count will go to 6 and 7. If I click on the green flag again, the sprite's variables will go back to their initial values. I'll click on the green flag, my diameter is 12 again, my whiskers count is 4, and my arms count is 5. That's working nicely. I'll go back to my diagram and show what happened to the variables. When the green flag was clicked, my arms count was set to 5. Whiskers count was set to 4, and my diameter was set to 12. Pressing the D key twice changed it to 13 and 14. Pressing the W key a couple times changed the count to 5, then 6. Pressing the A key a couple times changed my arms count to 6, then 7. For the next part of this example, I want to change the program to have each sprite have its own count of how many times it's been clicked. Each sprite will have its own myClickCount variable. Don't get confused by all of them having the same name. Each myClickCount will be for its own sprite. Just as each sprite has its own size variable, each sprite will have its own myClickCount variable. Keep in mind that each of the ClickCount variables will be created for this sprite only. Each sprite will change my click count by 1 whenever the sprite is clicked on. This will be in the When This Sprite Clicked handler for each of the sprites. I'll go back to my program now and create the variables for each of the sprites. Go to Data, and for the cat, I'll create my click count. I'll save this in my clipboard with Control-C so I don't have to keep typing it in. For this sprite only for the cat. Okay, there's the cat's my click count. Move it down. I'll set my click count to 0 when the green flag's clicked, and when the sprite's clicked on, I'll change my click count by 1. I'll go to the starfish. The starfish doesn't have a my click count variable, only the cat does. Make a variable. Paste it with Control-V. My click count for the sprite only. OK. I'll initialize it to 0 when the green flag's clicked on, and I'll change it by 1 when the sprite's clicked on. I'll bring it under the starfish, and go to the balloon. Create my click count, Control-V to paste it. For the sprite only, OK. I'll move my click count for the balloon down. Set it to 0 when the green flag's clicked on, and change my click count by 1 when the sprite's clicked on. Now the program's ready to run. I'll click on the green flag. Now when I click on the starfish's my click count is 1, and the global times clicked is 1. Click on the starfish again. My click count for the starfish is 2, and times clicked is 2. Click on the cat one time. The cat's my click count is 1, and times clicked is 3. Again on the cat, times clicked is 4, and the cat's my click count is 2. 2 clicks on the balloon, 1, 2. My click count for the balloon is 2, and times clicked is 6. Program's working nicely. When I click on the green flag, the counter should be cleared. Green flag, times clicked is 0, and the 3 my click count variables are 0. Now I'll go back to my diagram to show what happened when I ran the program. When I started the program, times clicked was reinitialized to 0, and each of the my click counts were set to 0. The my arms count, my whiskers count, and my diameter were also initialized, but I'm going to focus on the click counts. I clicked on the starfish, and my click count was increased by 1. And so was times clicked. Clicked on the starfish again, times clicked was changed by 1 to become 2, and my click count for the starfish was changed by 1 to become 2. Clicked on the cat, times clicked became 3, and my click count for the cat became 1. Clicked on the cat again, times clicked became 4, my click count for the cat became 2. Clicked on the balloon, times clicked became 5, and my click count for the balloon became 1. Clicked on the balloon again, times clicked became 6, and my click count for the balloon became 2. I hope this example shows the differences in shared variables like times clicked and private variables like my click count, my diameter, my whiskers count, and my arms count. I'm finished with this example. I encourage you to play with the program and get comfortable with variables that are for all the sprites and variables that are for only one sprite. Try changing the program. Try adding more variables for all the sprites and for only one of the sprites, and use other event handlers to change the values. It's important you get comfortable with variables that are for all sprites and for only one sprite. But above all, have fun with the examples. In this challenge, I'll play with importing a sound clip into my program and getting a sprite to dance with it. I'll get rid of the cat, delete. I'll get a new sprite, choose the ballerina. I have a 10-second song clip to dance to. I'll get the song clip, I'll go to Sounds, I'll upload a song from a file, Scratch. Here's my song clip, The Walk, 10 seconds long. Now the song can be played by Scratch. I'll look at editing sounds in another challenge. I'll play the song as it is. I'll go back to Scripts, go to Sound. I'll get Block Help on Play Sound. Play Sound plays a sound. Sounds are available on a menu. When Play Sound is run, it starts playing the sound and immediately returns to run the next block. Play Sound until done plays the entire song before it runs the next block. I'll want to use Play Sound, not Play Sound until done. I'll close Help. I'll get a stage for the ballerina to dance on, indoors. I'll use the spotlight stage. I double-clicked on it. It's my new stage backdrop now. I'll move the ballerina to the center. I'll go to Scripts, Motion. I'll get the Go-To, so the ballerina will always start here on the stage. I want to do this when the green flag is clicked. Events, green flag. Now when the green flag is clicked on, the ballerina will be moved to the center of the stage, and the song will start to play. I'll move the ballerina somewhere else to show that she gets moved, and I'll run it. Green flag. She got moved to the middle of the stage. Song's playing. A few more seconds left of it. Okay. Now I need to get her to dance. I'll go to Costumes. She has 4 costumes, and changing her costumes looks like she's dancing. Costume 1, 2, 3, 4, and back to 1. I can have my program change her costumes. I'll go to Scripts. In Looks, I can use Next Costume. If I click on Next Costume, her costume changes on the stage. I need to get some timing, a good time in between costume changes, so its rhythm moves with the music. I'll go to Control, get the repeat loop, move Next Costume inside, and I'll get the wait block. I'll have her move a little faster, every half second, 0.5. Now when the green flag is clicked, she's moved to the center of the stage, the song starts playing, and for 10 times, the costume is changed and waits a half a second. I'll run it now, green flag. Doesn't quite seem like the right rhythm, and it's a little too short. The dance felt a little fast, and it needs to go a little longer. I'll add 1/10 of a second, Instead of 0.5, I'll make it 0.6. And instead of a loop of 10, I'll make it a loop of 20. Now it'll change the costume 20 times and wait a little longer in between each time. I'll run it. Green flag. It seems to be moving well enough with the music, but still dancing a little too long. Music's in a common 4 beats. I'll change 20 to 16. I'll take 4 off of that. See if that's a good time length. Green flag. Still seems to be dancing nicely with the music. See if it ends well. It ends well. It's a strange ending. Instead of cycling through the costumes, I'll make my own sequence. I'll work with 4 beats. 16 divided by 4 is 4. I want to select my own costumes. Go to Looks, Switch Costume. Wait, don't need next costume anymore now. Before I had 16 costume switches, I'll need the 4 costume switches in here. Duplicate all 4 commands one more time. I'll look again at the costumes. Instead of cycling through the costumes A, B, C, D, I'll try A, B, A, D. I'll save C for the end. I'll go back to scripts and change the sequence. A, B, A, D. Now when the program runs, 4 times it'll go through this sequence of costume changes with waits in between. That'll be a total of 16 costume changes. I'll run it. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Finished. I don't want it ending with her legs sticking out. This loop runs 4 times. I'll change it to 3 times, copy these blocks below it, then change the ending. Change the 4 to a 3, duplicate the blocks inside. Now I can change the ending. I'll get 3 runs of 4 costume changes, that's 12, then the last 4, 13, 14, 15, 16. I don't need this last wait. Instead of ending with costume D with her foot sticking out, I can use the splits, costume C. Now when it runs, it'll get the 16 costume changes and end with her doing the splits. I'll run the program. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 last time. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I can change the ending one more time so she's not on the floor at the end. Instead of 1 wait of 6/10, I could have 2 waits with 2 costume changes of 0.3. That's half the time. I'll duplicate. Now she'll be doing the splits for half the time, then back up to costume A. This will run like before, except there'll be 2 quicker costume changes at the end to leave her standing up. I'll run it now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Last one, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. That worked nicely. I can add another sprite to dance. I'll go to New Sprite. I'll double-click on Cassie Dance. Now I have 2 sprites, Ballerina and Cassie Dance. Cassie Dance doesn't have any command blocks, but the Ballerina still has her blocks. I can copy blocks from one sprite to another instead of creating them all from scratch again. Sorry about that. I'll drag and drop the Ballerina's blocks onto Cassie Dance. Ballerina still has her command blocks. Now Cassie Dance has a copy of the blocks too. I want the Cassie sprite to be a little smaller on the stage. I'll get Set Size, change it to 75%. I'll click on it to run it. That's a good size now. I'll add Set Size so the sprite always starts at 75%. I'll move Cassie Dance to the right side of the stage. I want to use Cassie Dance's XY position instead of the Ballerina's XY position. I'll go to Motion, Go To, get rid of the second Go To. Now it'll go to where Cassie Dance is on the stage. I don't want the Ballerina and Cassie both playing the sound. One is enough. I'll get rid of Play Sound here. Reattach that. Now when I click on the green sprite, Cassie Dance will be positioned on the stage, size change to 75%. We'll switch the costumes in here 3 times, then finish with these switch costumes. The ballerina will go to her position, play the sound, and switch her costumes too. Do you see a problem with the blocks that Cassie Dance has? What about the costumes? Does Cassie Dance have the ballerina's costumes? Ballerina A, B, C, and D. I'll go to the Costumes tab. No, she has Cassie Dance A, B, C, and D. I'll change the Set Costume blocks. I'll go to Scripts. Ballerina A, be Cassie Dance A, B, A, D, A, B, A, C, A. This is an important lesson to remember when copying blocks from one sprite to another. Be very careful about blocks that can reference other sprites. This would include any variables that the ballerina may have created that were for this sprite only, since they'll be for the ballerina and not for Cassie Dance. I'll cancel this. I'll run it now. Click on the green flag. Oh, they're both dancing. That's good. A little bit more. Almost done. That went nicely. I'm finished with this challenge. I encourage you to make your own program using a music clip from Scratch's library and get comfortable playing with sounds and using repeat, wait, and switch costume command blocks. The ballerina's playing the sounds. I'll go to Sounds. You can choose a sound from the library. Guitar chords 2 can work. I'll play it. To use it, I'll select it, click OK. Now Guitar Chords 2 is available for playing. Go back to Scripts. I'll change Play Sound to play Guitar Chords 2. Now you can try this sound and have fun with the program. I'm glad you could join me. You can review these and all of my challenges at my programmingforkids.info website and on my programmingforkids.info YouTube channel. I encourage you to try the things you've just learned and explore the extra challenges I've suggested. I hope you can join me for the other shows. Until next time, have fun being creative.